Now at the bottom of page 4 and cover page 5, what we're getting is setting. It's page 5, that's important. So we're going to zip things along here a little bit. It was a matter of chance that I should have rented a house in one of the strangest communities in North America. It was on that slender, riotous island, which extends itself due east of New York, and where there are, among other natural curiosities, two unusual formations of land. We're talking about Long Island. 20 miles from the city, a pair of enormous eggs. So he's talking about the contour of the land, the shape of the land. Identical in contour and separated only by a courtesy bay, jet out into the most domesticated body of salt water in the Western Hemisphere, the gray wet barnyard of Long Island Sound. They are not perfect ovals like the egg in the Columbus story. They are both crushed flat at the contact end, but their physical resemblance must be a source of perpetual confusion to the gulls that fly overhead. To the wingless, more arresting phenomenon is their dissimilarity in every particular except shape and size. Here's what we have to pay attention to. Nick lives at West Egg, the less fashionable of the two. So I would keep track of this. So he's admitting that even though he's in a rich area, he's in the new rich area, meaning it is less fashionable because it's where the new rich live. He happens to have lucked out and he's in a really cheap kind of rental. He's surrounded by mansions on all sides. So this is a most superficial take to express the bizarre and not a little sinister contrast between them. My house was at the very tip of the egg, meaning he's very close to the New England Sound, to the water, and squeezed between two huge places that rented for 12 or 15,000 a season. Remember, we're talking 1922, so that's a load of money. The one on my right was a colossal affair by any standard. It was a factual imitation of some Hotel de Ville in Normandy, France, with a tower on one side spanking new under a thin beard of raw ivory, and a marble swimming pool and more than 40 acres of lawn and garden. It was Gatsby's mansion. So Nick Carraway, our narrator, lives right next door to Gatsby. Or rather, as I didn't know Mr. Gatsby, it was a mansion inhabited by a gentleman of that name. My own house was an eyesore, but it was a small eyesore, and it had been overlooked. So I had a view of the water, a partial view of my neighbor's lawn, and the consoling proximity of millionaires, all for $80 a month. So it's clear that Nick doesn't fit. This is not his world, but he's surrounded by millionaires. He's wealthy, he's not Gatsby wealthy. Across the courtesy bay, the white palaces, notice the repetition of the use of the word white. You know what white symbolizes? A fashionable East Egg. East Egg is old money, old wealth, so establishment. These people have been born into wealth for generations. They're going to look down on the West Egg people, the new rich. So East Egg glittered along the water, and the history of the summer really begins. On the evening, I drove over there to have dinner with the Buchanans, with the Tom Buchanan. Daisy was my second cousin once removed, and I'd known Tom in college, and just after the war, I spent 2 days with them in Chicago.